Look, I know there are 10 billion articles out there heralding the power of introverts. I know because I've read all 10 billion of them while repeatedly patting myself on the back. And yes, we do have certain strengths that aren't immediately apparent, and that's all great, and I'm not saying that you have to lose sight of that. But sometimes we get a little bit too comfy in our caves, and eventually there comes a point in every introvert's life where we need to call ourselves out on this shit, especially when we go from being introverts to being hermits. And look, I know that you like to think that you're one of like 10 true hermits in the world, and all of them are just misunderstood genius snowflakes in their rooms right now, writing, inventing, and drawing up plans to save the world, and that none are just sad people you haven't heard of before, because in no way will that be, or is that, you. But, thanks to the internet, there are more hermits than ever, and many of us are losing control of our lives without even knowing it. That sounds dramatic, but it's also totally true. Because think about it. Losing control of your life doesn't have to mean going on wild drug benders and catching the clap from a Brazilian prostitute. It can also mean playing Fortnite for so long that you forget what food outside of Doritos tastes like, or what a human is. Speaking from experience, many of us are doing something along these lines, and it's really not good. I can tell you from personal experience, from years upon years of being a full-on hermit, that it has fucked me over in so many ways that I can't count. It's not romantic, it's not for special snowflake awesome superstars, it's not fucking cool. It's just a way for dorks to justify losing touch with reality and with the very being that they are, a human. So let's try to dig into the specifics of why this is so terrible. In small enough doses, getting inside of your own brain is a great way to form ideas about the world and to develop as an individual, because you're basing your ideas and thoughts off of the rest of your life, where you're otherwise living in reality. So you have an experience, you go home and think it through, and reach a new level of clarity. That's why these areas are often strengths of introverts. In large doses, all living in your head does is develop the knowledge about the inside of your own ass, because you don't live in reality and therefore your thoughts don't have a proper context. So, instead of experiences, you just base ideas of the world off of other vague ideas which are based off of other vague ideas. Your brain becomes this theoretical house of cards, and you think it looks great because you haven't gone outside for 3 weeks and you've forgotten what a house looks like. But the actual end result is that 1. Your ideas of the world are based on nothing, and 2. Even when you physically are there for life, you're still stuck in the habit of living in your head, and as a result, mentally, you're still elsewhere. Let's put it like this. You know those people that you rip on in your head and on your message boards all the time? These people who use celebrity news and alcohol and Photoshop to escape reality because they're too weak to handle it? Yeah, you're an unshowered version of them. You're doing the exact same thing they are in a different way. I mean, think about it. Living in your head, ultimately, is escapism. It's you leaving the real world for your house of cards that is easier and makes more sense to you. If instead of basing your thoughts on experiences and interactions, you're just in your head playing racquetball, bouncing theories off of other theories and saying, "Great hit," to yourself, you are 100% going to develop a view of the world that's prone to imagination, mistruth, and ridiculous, idiotic bias. If you continue to avoid the real world, then you'll never thrive in the real world. And eventually, this will fuck up any plan you might have for a prosperous relationship, career advancement, or putting any of your stupid plans into action. And before you say, "That's fine, I have no plans, I'm happy with the way things are," really, really, really think about how true that actually is. Picture yourself waking up in 5, 10, 20 years in the exact same position you're in right now, with no progress made in any area of your life, and ask yourself if that thought doesn't terrify you a little. Imagine being 56 and still living on a message board, with no future prospects, no close relationships, having an encyclopedic knowledge of porn, and wondering what the hell happened to most of your life. The good news is, that probably won't happen. People like that just about don't really exist, because regardless of what you want, life will eventually pull you into the outside world. Essentially, hermits are all caterpillars snuggled up in our cocoons. Except the problem for us is that caterpillars don't get an option to stay in their cocoons forever if they want to. Eventually, no matter what, your wings burst out and you enter reality. And when that happens to you, you're going to freak the fuck out, flying haphazardly and bumping into walls going, "Shit! What do I do? What happens now? Ow! Fuck! Ow! What do I do? Ah! Fuck!" Being a hermit leaves you horrendously prepared for the outside world. So when you are forced into it, you will absolutely panic and freak out. So you have to get out there a little. You can be generally a homebody. I sure am. But you need some idea of balance in your life. You need to have some connection to reality. Or, at the risk of being a little judgy, I think maybe your life is totally stupid. For more on this, check out my full post, Dear Fellow Hermits.